Good day everyone, we are the Group 8. I am Rolis Dio Barco together with my co-members, May Anbita Nudra, Mary Joy Bahe, and Betashela Piang. So for today's discussion, we are going to tackle about the lease of real property. So let's start. The lease of real property, as a rule, all forms of lease properties, whether it is a real or personal, shall be subject to VAT in the ordinary course of trade or business, except if the lessor's gross annual receipts do not exceed 3 million pesos and is non-VAT registered. So number 1, lease of commercial units. Its gross receipts are subject to 12% VAT if it is located in the Philippines. The advance payment by the lessee is also subject to VAT if it is applied to rentals such as prepaid rent. It is not subject to VAT if the advance payment is not a rental payment but a loan, an option money, a security deposit. So when we say loan, utang, a loan to the lessor from the lessee. Then an option money for the property. So when we say option money, it is a contract in which a landlord and tenant agrees that at the end of a specified period, the renter can buy the property. It is also a security deposit. A security deposit is an amount given to the landlord to guarantee that you will fulfill the terms of the rental agreement and that you will leave the unit in good condition. It is also to ensure the faithful performance of certain obligations of the lessee to the lessor. Sale of real property. In the normal course of business, a sale of real property is subject to value-added tax. The output to VAT shall be based on the higher amount between the selling price and the fair market value. The fair market value shall refer to the higher between the fair market value as determined by the BIR or the zonal value, and fair market value as shown in the schedule of values of the provincial and city assessors. In fair market value as determined by the BIR, the market value may be based on land improvements, infrastructure, and other criteria. Market value may be determined for due diligence purposes by looking at similar market values of the same property. Second, the FMB as shown in the schedule of values of the provincial and city assessors, also known as assessed value. It is an approved schedule of unit-based market value for different classes of real property in the LGU and used by the provincial, city, or municipal assessors or basis for the appraisal and assessment of real properties in their respective assessment territorial jurisdictions for real property taxation purposes. Under the VRA, an updated schedule of market values will be used as the basis for local and national land and property-related taxes. So the sale of real property subject to VAT may be classified as cash, installment.
Everyone, I am Mary Joy Bahe and I am going to report the initial payment basis. In the case of sale of real properties in the sale installment plan, the real estate dealer shall be subjected to VAT on the sale on the installment payments, including interest and penalties actually and or constructively received by the seller. The sale is considered installment sale if the initial payments does not exceed to 25% of the selling price. Correspondingly, the buyer of property can claim input VAT in the same period as the seller recognized the output VAT. Installment sales are common in real estate and utilized by individual buyers and sellers. Initial payments pertains to all payments which the seller received on and before the execution of the instrument of sale, including cash or property received. Other than that, the purchaser evidence indebtedness includes notes or other evidence in the indebtedness issued by the purchaser to the seller at the same time of the sale. During the taxable year when the real property was sold, also exclude from the initial payment is the amount of the mortgage and the real property sold, except when such mortgage exceed the cost or other basis of the property to the seller, in which case the excise shall be considered part of the initial payment. So, initial sale, for example, kay pupalit ka og kanang property sa isa ka store company nga imo nang gibayaran ang partial, so ang initial payment sa imong gibayaran, then mo na siya, but kung mupalit ka, dapat dili siya mo exceed sa 25% sa initial selling price. So pag upalit ka, naman siya na year nga corresponding year nga kung kano sa imong manabayad, then kato siya na itong interest or penalties kung dili mo siya mabayaran on time. Ang interest mo na siya agatong sa magain sa kanang sa purchaser. Dayon kung naay time na dili mabayaran on time, so ang kanang date nga due nga imong bayaran sa dapat dito ka bayad, and that's like penalties. So that's what we call penalties. And then now we have example of initial payments. Down payment, collections, year of sale, add interest, penalties, or other charges, excise or mortgage over cost, if any, initial payments. That's then mo to siya sa pagkuha sa initial payments. And output VAT under installment sale. Year of sale equals initial payment divide gross selling price times higher between gross selling price or fair market value. Subsequent years, collections divide gross selling price times higher between gross selling price or fair market value. So, ang FMW is the higher between fair market value as determined by the consumers or zonal value. Fair market value is shown as a schedule of values of province and city assessor real property as tax declaration. So, maghatag among members of some examples.
Hello, this is Michelle Lapiang. So let's proceed to deferred payment basis. In case of sale of real properties on the deferred payment basis, initial payments of which in the year of sale exceed 25% of gross selling price, not the installment plan. The transaction shall be treated as cash sale, which makes the entire selling price taxable in the month of sale. Output tax shall be recognized by the seller, and input tax shall accrue to the buyer at the time of the execution of the instrument of sale. The exchange of real estate properties held for sale or for lease for shares of stocks, whether resulting to corporate control or not, is subject to VAT. On the other hand, if the transferee of the transferred real exchange a real property by a real estate dealer is another real estate dealer in an exchange where the transferor gains control of the transferee corporation, no output VAT is imposable on the said transfer. So here we have the summarization and the tax implication of cash sale, installment sale, and deferred payment basis as regards the payment of VAT payable. So we have here the cash sale. The payment terms of that is if total selling price is paid immediately by the buyer. Please note that if the total selling price is paid immediately by the buyer, and then the payment of output VAT shall be reported during the month of sale. And then the deferred sale, the payment terms of that is if the buyer only paid first the portion of the selling price, and then initial payment only exceeds 25% of the selling price. And then the last, we have the installment sale. The payment terms of that is if the buyer only paid first portion of selling price, and then initial payments please note that do not exceed 25% of the selling price. And then the payment of output VAT of the deferred sale is the seller or the real estate dealer shall be subject to VAT on installment payments inclusive of interest and penalties. So let's proceed to the pre-selling of real estate properties. Pre-selling of real estate properties by real estate dealers shall be subject to VAT or value added tax in accordance with rules as discussed above. Real estate dealer includes any persons engaged in the business of buying, developing, selling, exchange real properties as principal, and holding himself out as a full or part-time dealer in real estate.
Good day everyone, my name is Deferred, and I will be discussing about the property in trust and transaction themselves. So in this topic, transmission of property to a trustee shall not be subject to VAT if the property is temporarily held in trust for the trustor and or beneficiary. So if you're going to encounter a situation that there is a transfer of property, transmission of property to trustor or beneficiary, that is not subject to VAT. However, the property is transferred is one of sale, less or use in course of trade or business, and transfer constitution of included gift. The transfer is subject to VAT as a sale transaction. So no, if it is merely held with the course of trade or business, that is subject to VAT as a sale transaction. Okay, so we have the illustrations, example of a problem. This is all case A up to Z. So in case A, it's all about the cash sale. So a VAT subject real estate dealer sold a residential lot in October 2022. The following information was made available on the terms of the sale. Lot area 1,000 square meter, zonal value 25,000 pesos square meter, selling price 20 million pesos, and their terms is cash basis. So question, how much was the output VAT due? Okay, on given the output VAT due in this problem is the 25,000 square meter, the zonal value is we need to multiply with the 1,000 square meter is the lot area, and then multiply with 12% VAT percent. And that is how they get the 3 million pesos. So that is the output value. Okay, that is the answer of the cash case A. It's cash sale. Okay, let's proceed to case B. So in case B, it's all about deferred sale. Okay, so here's the problem. A VAT subject to real estate builder sold a residential lot in October 2021. The following information was made available on the terms of the sale. Gross selling price 5 million thousand pesos. Down payment installment 2021 is 2 million pesos. Balance payable and 3 equal annual installment of 1,200,000 pesos starting January 2022, and also the 1,200,000 pesos times with 3, the equal annual installment, which result to 3,600,000 pesos. The zonal value of the residential lot was 4,500,000 pesos. Okay, we have the two questions. In question number 1, how much was the output value for the month of October 2021? So in getting the output value for the month of October 2021 is the 5 million thousand pesos, which is the gross selling price, is multiplied with the 12% VAT payable, and result to equals to 600,000 pesos. So that is how you get the 600,000 pesos. Because initial payment exceeds 25% of selling price. Okay, so exceed the near initial payments of 25%. So, kung sa nilagay ko, kuha na that is a 25% of the selling price. So, in getting the 25%, in order for us to know, is the 2 million pesos of down payment installment in 2021 is divided by 5 million thousand pesos, which is the gross selling price, and equals to 40%. So, ni-exceed siya sa 25% because ang result ay 40% man. So, therefore, installment payment of VAT is not allowed. The sale is considered sale on deferred payment, which is rated as cash sale. Okay, so that is how they get the 600,000 pesos. Question number 2, how much was the output value on January 2022? Answer is 0. So why is it 0? The applicable output value, the entire selling price, was already reported for the month of October 2021. Consequently, payments subsequent to the initial payments shall no longer be subject to VAT. So it's already been reported na for the month of October. So that is why the initial payment shall no longer be subject to VAT. So the result for that is 0 pesos. Okay, so let's proceed to case C. So in case C, it's all about the installment sale. Okay, so this is the illustration. Alpha Realty VAT registered real estate sold a residential lot on October 2021. The following information was made available on the terms of the sale. Gross selling price 5 million thousand pesos. Down payment installment in 2021 1 million thousand pesos. Balance payable in 4 equal annual installment of 1,200,000 pesos starting January 2022. So 1,200,000 pesos multiplied with the 4 equal annual installment, and that is equals to 4,800,000 pesos. The total value up until 5 million pesos. Question number 1. How much was the output value for the month of October 2021? So, in getting the output value for the month of October 2021, is we need to the 1,000,000 pesos multiplied with 12%. Okay, so 12% is the percentage of VAT. And then it results to 120,000 pesos. Again, the 1 million pesos is that is the down payment installment in 2021. The initial payments less than 20% of selling price. So, in getting the percentage, 1,000,000 pesos divided with the 12,000,000 pesos gross selling price, and result to 20%. So, less than 25%. So, ang sale is considered as installment sale. So, question number 2. Assume the amount of due January was not paid on time by the customer. Consequently, Alpha charged interest and surcharges amounting to 50,000 pesos. How much was the output value of Alpha for January 2022? So, in getting the output value for Alpha for January 2022 is the 1,000,000 pesos, 200 pesos, which is the equal annual installment niya every month, no? So, that is the it actually adds sa 50,000 pesos na ayahang charges, interest, and surcharges amounting na 50,000 pesos. And then, times 12% equals to 150,000 pesos. So, that is how they get the 150,000 pesos. The seller is subject to VAT on installment collections, exclusive of applicable interest and penalties. So, that is the example illustrations on the 3 topics, which is the cash sale and deferred sale, and lastly the installment sale. So that's all for today, and thank you.